the effect that David has had on me. If you don't already know this, David makes you think, and in many cases, he's changed my way of thinking. Also, he has an uncanny ability to raise the consciousness in the room, and he has helped make me aware of my thoughts and really helped kind of the collective consciousness in this entire industry. I've seen him do it at IPI, I've seen him do it at the Buck Rogers meeting. He really makes us think, and he makes us aware of what we're thinking. He's also inspired me to do more and to do it better and to do it with greater authenticity. And several months back, he challenged me to think about authenticity and present what it means to be authentic to the Buck Rogers group. And if you haven't done that and done that within your own businesses, it's a great tool to use to help you determine really whether you're headed in the right direction and whether you're really authentic in what you're saying and what you're presenting to your customers. The most incredible impact, though, that David has had on me is his clarity of vision. This guy knows where he's going. He knows he's got a very clear vision of his own business. He's got a clear vision and has helped me with my business. And I really believe, he frankly knows where we all need to go with our businesses today. We're so fortunate to be able to listen to David again as he tells us about his new vision for Pro. And when I was speaking with him Friday morning, we were chatting a little bit about today, and he said, Gabby, he said, I'm just trying to do the next right thing. And it gives me great honor, and it's a great privilege for me to introduce you again to my good friend, Dave Guidry.
These shoes, according to the box, were designed for exactly this event.
Is that right?
Well, what they are is podium shoes. I don't know if everybody can see them, but they're I need to scream. Thank you, Gabby, so much for your kind words. I got these podium shoes. I'm going to tell you ultimately how I think I was duped into purchasing them. But I duped myself into purchasing them. I still need you, though. We need to see if they work. Yeah, I need you. We need to see if they work. So what they are, in effect, is if you're a professional cyclist and you win a stage like in the Tour de France or any other race, the sponsors don't want you walking up on stage, particularly if you're a specialized rider, in the cycling shoes. It doesn't look good for their image. So what they did was they designed some shoes like this specifically for when the rider finishes the race and accepts the jersey. But the main thing is, this is my wife Sherry, by the way. So, I just want to check and see if they'll work. Okay.
Oh.
Where's my jersey? Perfect. No slips, no falls. There's another reason I purchased these podium shoes for myself. You don't see anyone behind me, do you? This morning we're going to talk about the power of brand. I'm going to get back to these shoes because I think they illustrate a point about how things work. But I came across a DNA strand, and someone, I don't remember exactly where I picked it up, but the notion was that brand, when we consider it, is like a strand of DNA where each cell has its role to contribute and grow the whole. And I think one of the things we run into when we discuss branding is we define it too narrowly. We'll say, well, I like the logo or I don't like the logo. Does the logo really reflect who we are or does it not? But that is just a very small, thin slice of what an overall brand should be. All of these things contribute to brand. Whether or not you're sweeping the floor before your customers come in, package design certainly part of that. We're going to look at that. Product quality, meaning it has to do what we promise and say it will do. And it'll have to do it and hold up reasonably well. Visual identity, whether we're on time or not. I can tell you that's a huge thing in my company. Our brand is defeated the minute we're late with an order. And so that holds into it. And then there's warranty and service and support, and we're going to get into that as well. Before we, branding is fun to me because incorporates design. It makes us think about how customers and outsiders see us, because as business owners, we tend to get so enveloped in how we think things are, and we fool with this stuff every day that we lose sight of the customer that may visit us 3 or 4 times a year. And since we've lost film and we're not getting two visits every 36 shots, that's kind of how it is now. But the internet, in many ways, has been an advantage for us, and it's been a disadvantage in the sense that there is almost complete price transparency. There's not a single item that any of us sell that someone with enough want to couldn't go out and find it for cheaper or find free shipping on it or whatever have you. So we are now in a day and age where commodities, the things we use and leverage and all those things as consumers, are available to us from a wide number of sources. Locality is not an issue. So what we're seeing is that the successful companies are effectively skinning commodities so that we don't feel they're commodities. Now, build quality varies from product to product, and there are premium products, and there are entry-level made for TV, as seen on TV products. But ultimately, this is about enhancing your ability to sell through profitable goods in your stores. That's the motive. That's where we're going. So I hope that you like the way it looks, but ultimately those things have to contribute to an end, and that end is money. I'd like to invite a few people up right now. Rich Bright, Jeff Neal, Mark Leonard, you around? Nobody's spinning. Okay. One thing we need to do is I want to say what pro branding is about and what it is not about. John. Okay, so hold on. So what we have is you gotta hold it. I'm talking. What we have is the PRO organization, the Photographic Research Organization. Now, as you know, PRO is bigger than ProMaster. ProMaster is a brand that we bring to market, but PRO is not the only thing. PRO is you. So what we have changed is not PRO the organization, Rich. We have changed the mark and the brand identity, the visual identity of the brand. And in effect, we've broken it into 2. And I'll explain how these things work. We now have ProMaster and ProMaster Professional. Now, why would we have that? Well, think about the HGX filters that the organization has brought us. Those filters we can put up against any quality product in this field anywhere and compete effectively. That's a premium product, and it should carry, just like the new memory cards. Now, I asked these guys, Jeff, pass that off to you? I needed them up here because I needed to thank them for the efforts that they did in bringing this about. And these gentlemen certainly contributed. We would not be here and seeing what you were about to see without them. So please give them a hand and give Jeff a hand. One of the things that PRO, the organization, has is a warehouse. I'm not sure that you guys, I don't know that I was aware of the scope. I visited the warehouse a couple years back. They have 30,000 square feet, 33,000 square feet, 24-foot ceilings. They got 2 forklifts, not 1. I mean, I'd like to get 1, just to ride it. I think this is astounding. We had all of last year nearly 97% on-time ship rate of over 2 million units. So David and his crew and all the guys in the warehouse do a tremendous job. But again, that's another segment of the Photographic Research Organization. And some of what moves through that warehouse is ProMaster product, and some is not. So again, what we've worked on is the ProMaster brand. So we are moving effectively from this mark at this convention at this time to these marks. This is who made those shoes. I'm going to focus on a couple of case studies today just to kind of bring it to you from a different angle. I've often thought, I don't know what that particular mark would mean if it didn't have its association with the activity. So specifically, we rode a bike race with some of the guys from this group actually in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and we visited a independent bike shop, that went by the name of Two Wheeler Dealer. Now that's almost like a place that would sell cassettes from the 70s or something like that. But what was interesting about Two Wheeler Dealer is that Specialized, the company that made these shoes that are carrying me so effectively on the stage right now, this podium, is that they came in and skinned their store and brought what I would consider to be really professional, top-notch, modern marketing to their space. So we're going to talk about a few things involving this shop. And then my wife coaxed me into going to the circus with my kids. It was a great experience, but I didn't expect that I'd learn a tremendous marketing lesson while I was there, but I'll share that with you as well. One of the reasons that I asked, Gabby's a tremendous inspiration to me, personally, professionally, but also she represents, I think, the most obvious example of female power in our industry, in the sense that she came to this industry as a photographer and took over a shop with an analog mini lab where it was really not worth a whole lot at the time we got it, right? It's kind of a bad entry, but a great story in the sense that she began to show herself through her store, her authenticity, her position in the world. So when we talk female power, Liz from NPD gave me these things, and I've been consciously aware of this for some time. In fact, when we redid Lakeside Camera after Hurricane Katrina, one of the things we wanted to do was make it obvious to females that they had a place here. And if you look at that last bullet point, I think that you will see one major reason we needed to address the look and feel of the ProMaster line is that the demographics of those buying cameras has changed dramatically. I attended the WPPI show in Las Vegas in February, and I cannot tell you the number of young females who are entering the photography business and who, if made to feel comfortable, will spend money in your stores. 45% of all camera revenue is not something we can ignore, so that was something we wanted to look at. Now, our new brand identity is not overly feminine. It's just not overly masculine either. So this is a demographic we have to pay attention to. I got to talking to someone at that Specialized store, Two Wheeler Dealer, and she saw me taking pictures, and so she wanted to know, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm just taking pictures of this place because I think it's fairly well done. So I started to ask her, well, what's the deal here? What do you have to do? Can you not stock Cannondale? Can you not stock Trek? I started to try to figure out what their arrangement was. And ultimately, one of the things that came out was that 30% of the square footage in this location had to be female specific in order to participate in the program. 30% of it. But what's interesting to me, it wasn't just that they had to stock female specific clothing or female specific bicycle frames in order to fulfill the agreement. They had to be overt about it. They had to specifically say, explicitly say, that females are important, we welcome you, and we have something specific for you. This is a lesson we would all do well to implement. I don't know that we need to call it out like that because they don't make female icons and male icons, but the point is that female purchasing power is growing. They're an important segment, and we need to address that. The big lesson that I learned from the circus that day was you just have to hammer the mark. Now, you've seen the two new marks. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, when you go to buy tickets, you see the greatest show on earth, their banner, that's the mark that they fly under. Well, when you go to the show, from the moment you leave the parking lot to the time you exit the arena, you are bombarded with this. And in fact, there are some other things about this experience that I love because it was perfect circus. For example, this woman, when I took this picture, is hiding her face. That means she's on the land. Circus people are supposed to be on the land to some degree, so it fits, Then when you get into it, they drag a whole lot of things for a mass crowd. Every place that they can put that mark, they put that mark. They use it with lights. And I got to thinking about Barnum and Bailey, which is sort of an old school circus kind of thing. It's like, how must they have felt when they realized that Cirque du Soleil was gaining traction and thinking, how do we compete with the Cirque du Soleil? That's unbelievable. Well, they do very effectively. They're a classic core circus, but beyond that, they actually brought in some new modern stuff like dropping screens, light shows, some lasers and things to bring their brand up to date, and they recognized that there was equity in this greatest show on earth, and so they hammer it. And it's hammered in every way you can find it. Along the backdrops of the circus, the Characters, when you go to buy something that's there, they tie it in. Another thing about efficiency I learned at this show is that the people who participate and run the show, when there's a break and you're going to go buy popcorn, they run out and service the popcorn places. So, nice use of labor. Again, anything that's round, they put this stuff on. And then they take it even a step further. They start tattooing the kids. Every one of these kids I'm looking around have the little mark on their hand. And they're buying the goods. And they're loving it. Then, this guy, who's the ringleader and the MC, in order to free this clown that was captured in some kind of a plexiglass box, the entire audience had to scream Barnum to let this guy free. I'm thinking, this is brilliant. There's no way that my 4-year-olds and 6-year-olds are going to forget which circus they went to. And the next time they see that mark, they're going to want to go. And I'm going to tell you, it wasn't an accident. I'll show you something. They had pushed it down from the very top of the production to the people selling popcorn, that mark was important. And I'll show you evidence of that in a minute. We also learned about staying in character. Because again, the visual identity, or the mark, or the logo, or the color scheme is only part of the overall brand. There are other things that we bring to the table. Another example of how this show would work. My kids and wife ran off to the pre-show. They actually have a pre-show where you get to meet the characters, which I thought was a good part of the event. So I parked the car and walked through, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to get some popcorn. I want some popcorn. And I swear to you, I think this guy threw his voice. I think he went like, popcorn. So I walked right over to him. I bought the popcorn, and I said, hey, can I take your picture? Well, notice, I didn't buy that thing, but he made sure it was flashed. He flashed a smile. Anybody that knew I was taking pictures or that recognized that they were being watched instantly snapped a character. Unbelievable. And they're able to push this down to carnies. Now, another interesting thing, and I think this is where hustle comes into business, is that after I purchased it, I wasn't really paying attention. I was by myself. I'm in this circus place, and I said, you know, I think I must have spent $9 on that bag of popcorn, but I wasn't about to turn the guy down. He gave me a picture. So when I turned around, I looked, and across the way was the New Orleans Arena staff that sells their stuff, their hot dogs and all that stuff. And there's like 20 people in this little booth watching me purchase the popcorn from this one guy. So they said, hey, come over here. So I walked, I said, well, what's going on? I said, how much did you pay for that popcorn? I said, I don't know what it was, but I mean, he's the one that threw his voice, so he got my money. I mean, they weren't calling out. So how do we stay in character? Well, the board, as we move through the branding process, arrived at this. ProMaster is to be a solid citizen who's trustworthy and practical. ProMaster is enthusiastic about photography, accessible, and enjoys life. ProMaster can be subtly irreverent, but never mean. Now, I think that this is my 19th Pro show. I think. And I know an awful lot of people. Some of the best friends that I have in life have come from this industry and this group. And I personally feel that this fits us very well. What we need to do is make sure that we're acting it, not only in the product quality and the things that we bring to the shelf, but how we support our brand. How we support our brand. So I look at what they did. And in the circus, obviously, there's a tremendous amount of characters and activity going on, but each one of them has a role, no matter what they look like. And that role is designed to produce this. Because if they don't produce that, then it's all for naught. If this branding effort isn't equally applied and pushed across the boards that we gain customers, converts, brand evangelists, and ultimately increase revenue from our products, then we will have failed. So there is an end to this. And in the case of Barnum and Bailey, if we don't get the kids to react and thrill the kids, then there's no reason for any of the other stuff. And then I thought, as I look back at this scene, I wonder if this guy, on his 14th show, decides that he's bored of being this character and would prefer to be Barney, the dinosaur, and show up that way. Why do I say that? Because it seems like with our dress code at Lakeside Camera, after 2 weeks, some people feel it's okay to show up unshaven. Does that happen at the circus? I'll bet it doesn't. brand and its reflection on the pro brand and your ability to play in a modern retail internet world is largely dependent upon you finding out who you are and conveying that message consistently and not allowing drift. I promise you these people do not get to dress the way they want to. They are there to fulfill a role, and their role is to make him react, not what they like. Another element is service. You notice how the mark is tied into that. We're going back to the specialized store right now. And so one of the things we noticed when we're talking about supporting a brand is that the ProMaster guarantee is all over the map. Why? Because we have enthusiastic members who want to get behind this product and treat it as if it's their house brand. And they want to move this stuff. So we invent things like lifetime guarantees. The problem with that is that we're not unified. Now, we're not here to tell you how to run your operation. We're a fierce bunch of independents, and the last thing I would want to do is compromise that or run up against it. However, the organization feels it's important to clarify the guarantee statement. And here it is on all ProMaster products. If for any reason the product fails in 1 year, we will over-the-counter exchange it at no cost. Why are we doing this? Because it is part of a brand strategy. If you can train your sales associates to give that guarantee, we feel like it's enough to give them confidence to overcome maybe a lack of brand awareness in pro. But we have crafted a statement that will work for all of us. If you choose to do something different in your own store, well, again, we're a fierce band of independents. If you've got a lifetime warranty thing going, we don't want to take that away from you. But as far as it comes from the pro organization, this is where we are. So if you find, however, that you sell a product and it's over a year old and you think it's workmanship that failed, let's send it to the pro office and get them to evaluate it. What we really want to do is convert people to knowing that ProMaster products are awesome, affordable, well-designed products to help people take pictures. That's the end of the line. So, ProMaster memory for competitive reasons will carry lifetime warranty still. One of the major efforts to the packaging redesign that we did is to focus on clarity. Now, what do we mean by clarity? Earlier I mentioned that we live in our stores, and so the walls sort of become part of us. We begin to see items and lines of items, things like memory and filters, from an insider's point of view. We all know what a UV does or a polarizer does, and we make the assumption that our customers are the same way. And I don't think that's so. I know it's not so. In fact, I know that when a novice who's a candidate to move up the chain to a digital SLR and become one of our good finishing customers, I mean the ideal situation, we take someone who gets interested in photography and move them up the value chain. We all get opportunity with digital SLRs and things. Education, all that we have an opportunity to make a lifetime customer that means a lot of revenue to us. But if you think about it, when they would enter Lakeside, and I can only speak for my own facility, as a neophyte, there's a ton of equipment, there's a ton of blister packs on the walls for shop. I mean, we try to do a good job of merchandising and keep it exciting, keep the visuals good. But ultimately, I think for a new person to walk in, it's very confusing. It almost looks like white noise on a TV. They don't really know where to go. So one of the objectives, the prime objective in the packaging, was to help people locate exactly what it is they're looking for as quickly as possible so that they can make a comfortable purchasing decision. And then there's the other fact, and how many of you in here, if you go shopping, if you don't buy it online, if you do go into a store, really don't want to talk to the associate so much? How many of you like that? How many would rather just go find what they need? They don't want to be bothered. But you know, I'm one of them. I don't want to talk to those people. They may not wash their hands. I don't know. Right? So there's a lot of us in here, right, who might prefer not to have that contact. Well, what we've done with the packaging is to put it in a position where those people can make a selection and still become a customer. So we wanted bold and consistent brand application across the whole line. We wanted a stronger shelf presence. Now, if any of you attempt to rebrand your organization, just think to yourself what that means. Someone says, would you like a bolder shelf presence or not? Well, yeah, we want a bolder shelf presence, but not that bold. I mean, it's finding the right balance to fit the ProMaster brand personality is a real challenge. So, but we wanted a strong shelf presence, and we wanted it, and we wanted it to show off so that people would be attracted to it. We wanted a clear value step-up system, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. And then a consistent spec presentation so that I don't know if this has affected you, but I recently heard a stat that people in their 20s will change jobs 8 times. That's the average. I think it's 18 times over the course of a life people move jobs. They don't enter one company and stay there. So if we do not have a clear hierarchy, a clear communication system, and a clear step-up system, it takes us longer when introducing a new buyer, a new seller to the pro product, the whole complement of pro products. It takes them longer to decipher the pattern and what it means. And that is ultimately going to hurt sales. So that was one of the goals that we had. So let's look at some packaging. A fast mover would be the Pro Tripod. I don't know if how many of you have seen this stuff? You like it?
Yeah. Love it.
All right. It's so it carries the new mark, and it's clearly marked a tripod. These are, visual shots. They don't give you the selling messages clearly, but they know right away that it's carbon, and that's across the line. And then the specs are easily laid out so that they can make a decision whether this tripod is right for them or not. Think about this. What's more important on a tripod box? We have to put maximum capacity, right? I think that's a legal thing. You have to put maximum capacity. But how many of you sell tripods on a daily basis based on the maximum capacity of that tripod? More likely you'll make the sale because we know that it's appropriate for still and for video now. So we have attempted to take, and we used a focus group to do this, which I think we'll continue to do, to sort of hone that messaging in. I noticed that they did it at the Specialized store. They came in and skinned this place. I'm telling you, you cannot miss it. Helmets, pumps, tires, tubes, socks, easy to get around. And I have to tell you, as someone who kind of knows about bikes, I didn't feel like they were being overly simplistic. In fact, I thought it was a pretty good shopping experience to be able to look around and locate what I might want right away. This part is really big, the aspirational part. And I have to tell you, it's funny how these things work, and this is the start to how I'll tell you how I ended up in these shoes. I broke my collarbone in July of 2009. And I tend to live hungry anyway, but when I couldn't ride my bike, I put on a little weight. But the thing was, every time I would go ride, in my mind, this is what I looked like. Even when I was a little bit round on the bike, But I think that's how people are. I don't think that our customers always think that they are Ansel Adams overnight, but they aspire to get there. They want to participate. In many ways, what we're here to do with photography is what this company does for cycling for me, and that's help me live out my fantasy. That's all it is, right? I'll never win a bike race. I'll never be on a podium, but in my mind, I'm drawn to this, okay? Another way to do it, that's funny. Okay. I'll also point out that in this shop, they had more effective use of photos than most photo specialty stores I go into. The way that they display them, very well, very clean. Installed on the walls. See these banners? We can get these banner stands out of the Pro Warehouse. This place was in wall to wall with people enjoying active lifestyles. And that reflected back when people get in there, they get inspired. They want that. They purchase what's there. That's part of how this works. Then, Specialized employed sort of what we're trying to do with the Red Label products. They have a line called S-Works. These shoes, I think, are S-Works. S-Works means it's like the top of the line. So if you bought an S-Works helmet, that's the best one they make. Now, I bought my kids some Specialized helmets. They're much lower down the line, much less expensive. But the aspirational products, the S-Works products, reflect down on the rest of the line. In fact, they had McLaren, the F1 people, build or help design a Specialized S-Works bike that now hit the market. And some of the guys that went to this store with us said, hey, where's that bike? You guys got that McLaren bike? The sales associate said, We had one last week, but somebody bought it. $9 grand. It's a bad economy, huh? It's bad, it's just terrible economy. Somebody bought a McLaren F1 bicycle from Specialized for $9 grand. Unbelievable. So we want aspirational products too up top. We want to give them a premium tier of products that will reflect down the rest of the line. Here's some of the new packaging. And there's another way that we have to associate ourselves with aspirational activity. I'm going to show you now a video that we commissioned Will Crockett, my good friend Will Crockett, to do about ProMaster products. So let's take a look at this.
No matter if you're shooting with a full-size HD SLR with a long lens or a compact camera system with a standard lens, odds are you will get a better picture if you use a tripod. Why? Here's Will Crockett from ShootSmarter.com for some tripod tips from ProMaster.
Hi, and thanks for joining me on my shoot. I want to blend my model with these really cool repeating lines, and I found some very nice light. My problem is that I want to shoot still photos and maybe a little video with a long lens and a hefty HD SLR camera. This combo of using a long lens that's hard to handhold and a beefy camera and a beefy lens and these sharp compositional lines lead me to one spot, don't they? Using a tripod. And here's a tip for you. When you're working on a tripod, set it up so that it's level. Even if you're working in a spot where the ground is very uneven. It's best to adjust the legs to whatever length they need to be in order to keep that tripod super level. That way you can easily flip from shooting horizontal shots to vertical shots and have nice clean images for your still files as well as your video files.
ProMaster has a wide variety of tripods for shooting still photos, video, or both, and they're priced right. Will is shooting today with the ProMaster 7450, the ProMaster Carbon Fiber T525, and the cool Taskmaster U25 is making some great pictures. Here's some more tips from the Pro.
Sometimes I shoot in unusual places and I don't know what size tripod or even monopod that I need, but I don't want to carry 3 different size tripods around with me. Here's one of those all-purpose tripod kits. Check it out. It's a Taskmaster U25 that you simply unroll like this. And here you have the tripod legs that you can put a small ball head on right on top of. Or choose a center column that's light and rigid like this one, or one that's light and adjustable like this. And you can even use this cool tilt bracket to get that column off the side of the legs to squeeze into that just right spot. This comes in so handy on shoots like this one. Let me show you. I'll start this shoot with a rather long lens. It's set to 150 millimeters on a compact system camera, and I need a tripod, no doubt, to pull off a shot like this. I like this low angle from the robe here, so I'm going to work with this long lens at this really cool angle. Next, I want to shoot from the edge of the barn, way over there, but I don't want to mess around with 3 legs on a tripod in those deep weeds. So I'm simply going to unscrew the center leg of the Taskmaster, and I'm going to move this ball head right on over to it and make a monopod. Tripods and monopods can do so much for you in your photography. Remember, you want to use the lowest ISO you can to get the maximum image quality out of your camera. And I gotta tell you, it's tough to hand-hold a camera in the 2 locations that I showed you. Like, remember when we were using the long lens to get that compressed look of those pillars? Or if you see a shutter speed of 1/30th of a second or longer because you're using that lower ISO. Now, both solutions and situations that we shot in are very common, and those solutions end up with using a tripod or a monopod to make better pictures.
For still photography, video, and everything in between, you're sure to find that just right tripod or monopod to suit your needs your budget, and your shooting style at ProMaster.com and at your favorite ProMaster dealer.
You guys like that? You will be able to download that and stream it, embed it into your website. This is the first, there's 2 in the can. The other one is on the Go Charger. It's very good as well. I think we'll be able to train staff, enhance our website, bring some video into things. If you've got video monitors in the store, these will be of use to you. I have not talked to Eric yet about getting them ready for download, but these are yours, and we're going to produce more for you. The other thing that we wanted to do in unifying the look of the brand is not only so that the customers could see a pattern and develop an affinity for a look and feel, but so that we could. So I'll show you this. This is some of the new packaging. And for those of you who are using kits, how many people sell kits here? You know, do you think this will help you? Do you think this will enhance the value of a kit? I think so too. And I think it will do it in ways that maybe aren't apparent to you yet. One thing, we had 3 new flash units come out. One of them has been placed in the general category, and the other in an active hobbyist category, but they appear to be in the same family. So what one could do is essentially create a kit, build a kit to be at a price point, and then if they need to maneuver within that to reduce the flash in the line or change out a filter, to the customer it doesn't look like we're piling on a stack of blister packs at the counter. This appears to be a system, and it should make it easier for them to make a decision to buy your kits. Take a look at the battery. You know, we went through a big thing about battery. Why does it have to say battery? Why does it have to say battery first? Again, because we live in the store. We know that that's where the batteries are. We know that's what they look like. But what about the person that doesn't want to talk to our people but happens to see out of the corner of their eye a battery and they're going to Disney World? We may have earned a sale where before it would have been obscured. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to open up those envelopes. This is the ProMaster brand guide for you to implement this new design philosophy in your own stores. Let me give you another example so you can kind of know what this is. This is the one that we developed for Lakeside, and it's only 4 pages. Yours is bigger because Pro is bigger than Lakeside and requires more consistent use. So in here you will find an explanation of the brand overall, and you will see examples of how to use the logo and how not to use the logo. Again, we got to stay in character, we have to stay on brand, and we got to hammer the mark, but we can't hammer a mark that mutates. We have to hammer a mark that stays the same so that people can begin to recognize it. Let's take a look at this. You're about to see some examples of this, a test case, a use case. If you look here, this is the proportion of a 36 inch by 75 inch banner. The Pro warehouse currently stocks 2 banners. One is 24 inches wide, the other is 36 inches wide. If you have an inkjet printer in your location, all you need to do to make nice displays that you can move around is order these banner stands and then produce the work. So you can think of this as a container, and the container is kind of like this. Found this at home, this pizza kit, and I got this from Adam Newman. I have to give credit where credit is due. I didn't get the pizza kit from him, but I got the notion. When you open this box, you're not going to pour a pizza out of it. It's just some dough, right? You got to supply your own cheese. So I'm saying here, there's a great reason for a bunch of independents to show their own cheese, all right? Yes, we could come up with some stock art, and maybe that's what we'll do for people who really don't have access to good photography. But if you don't have good access to photography and you're in here, I don't know. I think about our friends from Mike's in Denver and how different I would assume that their stuff would look. I can't imagine that a shot of people hiking in mountains would mean much to my people down in New Orleans, right? We're like 10 below. Nobody So again, I'm not certain that a national top push-down advertising campaign where they give you the assets is exactly the right thing for you. I think you should relish and you know, let your own flag fly for your own independence, right? Now, we got to stay in brand. We expect non-offensive stuff. We expect stuff that shows off the pro brand. Ultimately, my oldest daughter on a swing has nothing to do with the packaging or the products we sell, but has everything to do with the dad's desire to preserve images of the ones that they love the most. And remember, that's why we're here. That's the point. So we need to tie that in. Next, I tried a little bit of an experiment with the brand guide. We got in some, you know, the pro lighting is really nice. We had a floor sign with the old logo, so I decided to run a little test and send. I said, okay, Dawn, let's update the line. We brought some new stuff in, and then let's turn the guide over to our designers, and we're not going to tell them anything. I'm not going to correct them. And we said, look, this is the new look. This is how you're supposed to implement the logo, and this is what we want. And these are the first two. I didn't request any changes. This was the first one out of the gate. Now, my designers, the people who work for me that handle our advertising and marketing, they're aware of a disciplined approach to marketing. So they are aware that there are rules. I have not run this by Zandy Newman. I'm confident this is not exactly right. But it is so much better than if we had no rules at all. Now, I am going to propose a mechanism by which to help you. It's pretty close? Yeah. All right. Good. So what we may do is propose a way to have a clearinghouse where you can run some ideas by us and sort of help you figure out how to make the most use of it. So we get back to this, you know, and it's like, what does this mean? Well, you know, it's funny how this worked. We spent 6 days pedaling our bicycles across and around South Dakota. And there was the fellowship at night, there was the camaraderie, there was the physical exertion. And on the fourth or fifth, I think it was the fifth afternoon, we started to get some rain, you know, and I'll tell you, I had a moment where I was lightning cracked and like, you know, I work in an office all the time. I sit behind a big old 30-inch Macintosh screen, air conditioning and everything. I don't know about you guys, but it's not often that I get spooked by nature. Like, oh, should I go in? Should I take cover? You know. And when we finished that ride, we had like a nice, what looked like it was flat, but I think for the last 15 miles or so, we had a nice little bit of a downhill, which made me feel more like Lance than myself. I like that whole thing. But, you know, we got wet, and when we finished that ride, one of the guys was talking about how vivid the big raindrops hitting the pavement in front of him are. Another guy said that was exhilarating. Now, this is a guy who at the beginning of the week would not wear tights. All right? I even thought about, I'm so comfortable in tights now, I wear them up here. But you know, he wouldn't even wear tights at the beginning of the week, and after that ride, he said that was exhilarating. And I thought, you know, the thought I had is when we crossed one place after the rain kind of broke, I looked at it and I thought, this whole 3D industry is absurd. Look at God's creation. Oh my God, it was such a powerful moment. And as I look down and my feet are turning over the pedals, I see that little S. I see the little S, right? So we finish. We go back to the store. And I saw these shoes, Specialized store, and I had to have them. But I had to have them because I thought, well, that's radical. But I'd been around cyclists all week. Adults in tights and weird shoes and crazy colors. Everybody looking like Tokyo at night. You know, if you just stepped into that, you know, out of the blue, this stuff doesn't make sense, right? But after a week of cycling with hundreds of people enjoying what we were doing, these shoes seemed right. Now, this is the same phenomenon I noticed when I would go to Europe, right? First day you get to Europe, you go over there for a week, you say, wow, man, the fashion here is different. Then you start to see, you know, maybe a pair of shoes that a lot of people are wearing, and you say, well, those are kind of cool, but I wouldn't wear them at home. By the sixth day, you're trying them on. And by the time you're putting them in your luggage, you're thinking, I'm going to take back these square-toed buckle jobs, and I'm going to introduce them to Metairie, Louisiana. Now, the interesting thing about this branding deal is I really thought I was buying a radical pair of shoes to have fun with. And the fact is, I had already purchased 3 pairs that were so much like it and didn't even realize it. And yet I thought it was rad. I thought it was a crazy purchase. It's no wonder I had become accustomed to it. They had wrapped me in it. They wrapped me in it when I'm watching the Tour de France. They wrapped me in it showing me aspirational stuff about what I would like to do with my free time. They wrapped me in it when I bought the shoes and they work. And, you know, I pedaled in these shoes 3,000 miles this year, which was a goal of mine. I'm at 3,200 miles right now, and I have not had a problem with my feet. Fundamentally, the stuff we bring in and sell has got to work, and we have to support it. Okay, so we get to this, you know what? When we first introduced the mark without the supporting stuff and being able to weave it together for you, you know, what does this mean? Anybody know what this means? I'm going to tell you we don't know yet. We don't know yet what this means. What it will mean is largely dependent upon what we in the pro community do to keep it consistent, to leverage the asset that we're giving you today. This is an asset. Make no mistake about it. It's an asset just like your product line. How well you support the customers who buy it, how favorably you think of it and speak of it to your sales staff, that's what's going to give meaning to this. The Nike swoosh means nothing without the active lifestyle wrapped around it. So we will create the meaning for this. And right now, we are going to go to coffee break, and I'm going to show you, you'll see some displays for aspirational photography that should reflect positively on ProMaster. You'll see a use case, and I'll see you all at coffee break. Thank you very much.
David, I know that you're never lost for an opinion. I don't have those shoes. But there's a great story that goes along. When David was rolling this out, he asked Bob Hanson if he could have some flags. And Bob turned to him and says, "I'd like to get you a banner." And David, never to be short for an opinion, he said, "Bob, did you ever see a country wave a banner?" So since I never saw what this is, I made a flag just for David, and this is his flag. There you go, David.
Thank you.
Just for you, buddy.
All right, we've taken over the ship.
There you go. All right.
Thank you very much. We're going to break about 5 minutes early. We will start back up here at 10:15. You're not getting an extra